Simon, a great effort from the lads in the south of France, but ultimately falling to a 28-22 defeat in the Betfred Championship against Toulouse Olympique. You'll have had a few days to rest and recuperate and look back on that game. Do you agree that the boys had a really good dig over in Toulouse?
Yeah, I don't think that's been in question. I mean, I questioned it once and on reflection got it wrong a couple of weeks back, but their effort was mega. Just applying a plan is the difficulty at the moment. We're doing it in patches, and I suppose it is somewhat the story of our season, but I think we started really poorly, which you probably can't afford to do, because obviously we lost by 8 and we conceded 10 in the first 10. Got back in it by knocking off our plan and got some opportunities, took a couple of them, and we're coming in a really good spot at half time. And then second half, as I said straight away after, because obviously we have some live stats there, and completing 8 from 11 sets in 40 minutes, it's just not good enough, mate. I don't think we had much go our way. I thought there were a few less than average calls, but aside from spending more time agonising over it, clipping it up and sending it away, it's not going to get us anything out of it, so we'll just leave it there. But yeah, I don't think we fell the right side of that one on a few calls. But ultimately it's us as a collective, and I know 6, 7, 9, 1 have got a bit on their head in terms of the role they play to lead game plan and stuff like that, but it's an everyone thing. Yeah, and it takes concentration. So yeah, that was the case really. I think we went away from plan and we left a load of points out there despite not doing plan. There was a lot of stuff where if we just used our eyes and looked up, we could have been pretty much going untouched, which is pretty hard to take. And listen, it's all part of the ride, isn't it? And I know I've spoke about it before. I don't like the results, obviously, but I am part of a bit of a rare gang, I suppose. It's probably all people who follow Halifax Rugby League, to be honest. It's this roller coaster, and it's part of the journey, and you don't get it your way all the time. But I think bottom end of what I want every week is everyone giving everything, and I think they did that. But yeah, we're just not being smart enough at the moment, and it's something we need to get on top of.
Forced into a few changes as well. Obviously, Heywood moving into the halves in place of Keys, Kavanagh missing out with the HIA, Sutcliffe coming in there, a few other changes. Do you think the story could have been potentially different with the bodies we were missing in that side in that sort of game?
Potentially, but if we didn't get the plan off, it probably would have been the same result anyway. I thought Kyle did a really good job, but he needed some assistance in making sure it got done. I don't think he got that. Yeah, Cav would have been a nice experienced body to have out there when it did go a little bit west. Same with Bob, but I think the lads that did play did all right, didn't they? I thought Sutty had a really good game for us. He looked like an Halifax player who was playing for his job, and he's, and the pride in our shirt, to come and do that on a one game visit from Dual Reg, I thought was mega. It'd be nice to have him back, but I think he's probably worked himself into a shirt cast this week.
And the fitness really shone there as well, with the heat being as it was against a full time team, took them right down to the 80 minutes, so that must be a bit of a moral victory and something you can hang your hat on for later in the year.
Yeah, I think we've said it time and time again, Faz, we are a fit team, we do monitor it. We're looking at it. The lads know we are, therefore they've got to turn up on those fronts. But it'd be nice to spend our energy in some better areas, and then you see the better side of our team. So that's the focus for us, just getting a plan off. Listen, Swinton coming this week, I know you're going to move on to them in a minute, but they're a good team, quite unpredictable in the sense of the dual reg, loan players changing quite frequently. But it probably just lends to where we're at the moment of looking after your own house and getting that in order, and that's a collective, but certainly individuals in our team doing their job well and doing what they say they're going to do, and that'll give us an opportunity to win this week, but it certainly won't be an easy one, and we'll have to be on it.
Yeah, we'll move on to Swinton in a bit more detail in a second. Before we do that, just a bit of a look back on the injuries that we've had. You know a bit more about Joe Keys after his surgery, Ben Kavanagh with his HIA. Can you give us an update? Saltonstall, I think, is still struggling with some problems. Do we have any updates?
Yeah,
any chance of those lads coming back anytime soon?
So I'll try to do it in the order you said. So we got Keys was worse than we expected because of how good his movement and the location of his bruising and stuff in the days following his injury. We were hopeful it'd be bicep, but it's ended up being a significant tear to his pec tendon, which then means if it's significant enough, it's surgery, and he's had that now. He's on his road to recovery, which will be a pretty long one. But look, we'll be here to support him, and hopefully, if we can do our job in the meantime, he'll come back with some games to spare, and hopefully we give him something good to play for at the end of it there. But it's unfortunate for Joe because he's been really good for us, and a really innocuous injury. Some, I've had some of the ones that look quite disgusting. It wasn't one of them. It's just one of them things that happens. That's the game, and you just have to ride these times, I suppose. Cav, HIA and failed. It was third in 12 months. So he's in a neurosurgeon, maybe. I think it's they speak to. Done the assessments with him, and that's all good. So Cav comes back into contention, providing he passes every stage of that recovery. James Saltonstall killed him last week not playing in that game, and it was hard for all of them. You get a different perspective when you're watching. Feels a bit different compared to when you're out there, and Salt will be chomping at the bit, but he's got a few boxes to tick as well after his groin injury, and we don't really want to rush that despite the importance of picking up points. We'll see how that looks. Then there's a few other bits and bobs in amongst, as there always is, but we'll make a decision tonight on what our final 21 and 19 looks like.
Yeah, you brought Adam O'Brien in on loan as well, so that obviously gives you different options of how you sort of select your halves, your fullbacks, your hookers and everything like that. Did the game in Toulouse give you a better idea of how you think? Because throughout the years we've sort of fallen into a settled team over a period of time. The early season you sort of figure out your best 17. Do you feel like this has given you a better idea of who your preferred 17 is with the losses that we're dealing with at the minute?
I think it's hard to settle on it when our form's up and down, to be honest. But Adam, the main reason for Adam coming in is the game management and experience, because I know it's hard to hear for the people it involves, but they haven't been doing it. And 10 weeks, 12 weeks without Keezer, who they look to on the field, they look to drive that. We need someone they can look to, and I think Adam will provide that for us. That's just the presence, if you like, and the experience he brings. But he's also a very, very good rugby league player as well, and fit, can do big minutes, can run a team, can get out dummy half and work from there. And I just really think he'll assist the lads in making sure we knock a plan off. I think it's a really good move for us, and hopefully it turns out to be a good one for him as well. Yeah,
you've got options in the half-backs, moving full-back to half-back, things like that. Have you given much thought to that, or is it still all up?
Yeah, loads of thoughts, but it's a bit of a damned if you do, damned if you don't scenario, I think, at times, where we can make changes and we can all critique it with hindsight after the fact, or you can stay the same and you still critique it regardless. That's not just external, that's me when I'm looking at it. But I'm viewing what they're doing at training and what they're doing at games, so I'll make my decisions around what we see.
We'll come on to Sunday's trip to Heywood Road. Then it's Swinton Lions in the Betfred Championship round 14. They're off the back of quite a surprising in some circles, but not to others win, a big win over Keighley Cougars over there on Sunday. So they're not a team to take lightly in any stretch of the imagination. You'll have done your prep on them, what you're expecting them, where do their strengths lie, and where can we really attack them?
I think, they're a good team. Did get a really good win. They've been doing well, Coming up from League One is a task to come up and hold your own, but I certainly think they're doing that. They're utilising the dual reg. Saints are obviously healthy, therefore they're getting plenty of bodies in. They've had a meal last week from Salford, and that's part of the tough bit in preparation for them. We don't really know what it'll look like, but it lends itself to looking after yourselves, I suppose. But yeah, they play with plenty of movement. I think that's a kind of an identity thing with Swinton. They've always moved the ball really well, and they've still definitely got that. They've got some handy players in there, and it'll definitely be a big challenge for us. We've never gone over there, and we've won comfortably a couple of times, but I don't think it's ever been an easy game. And then, they certainly won't die wondering. They'll throw that ball around, and they really will test us. And it's a defence, goal line defence in particular, is something we really need to tidy up and make sure we're concentrating on, because blokes like Josh Eves, Amir in at dummy half, they'll make life hard for you. So yeah, look, we know what we're up against. It's a tough game, but they're all tough. There's always an expectation on every game. We'll be just going there to try and right the wrongs of the week before, and if we can improve, certainly in the game management aspect, I think we'll be a strong chance of putting in a performance we're proud of.
And off the back of a couple of defeats in a row the week before, a derby game against the Bradford Bulls, these are the games where people really want to go out there and put a statement in, so you must be expecting a big reaction from the players that want to sort of put their names in the hat going forward.
Yeah, listen, that changing room after that game was probably as low as I've seen it. They really are trying. Just sometimes it doesn't go your way, no matter how hard you try. but we can't feel sorry for ourselves. And you know, the idea of bringing Adam in, and I don't know if there could be more changes to follow. I'm not sure yet, but we can either be, I think I'm using the same language, but we can be paralysed by the situation and just let it happen to us, or we can do something about it, and that's the opportunity that they've got now. It's an obstacle for us at the moment, of course it is, but we either attack it or roll over, and you know, I certainly won't be rolling over.
And the final word just on the supporters, we mentioned when we were in Toulouse on Saturday night out what a great effort they made getting over there, supporting the boys. They made themselves known, really vocal, so you must be hoping a lot of them make the trip over to Sale on Sunday and get behind the boys when they need it most.
Yeah, definitely. I know it's an expensive thing, and it's obviously a good trip. Everyone looks forward to it. Just everything about the trip for us internally as a group was great. Prep and everything. Just the result was the issue, which I assume was the same for everyone else. Yeah, we need them, don't we? Thick and thin. At the minute, we're going a little bit rough, aren't we? So we need them probably more than ever, to be quite honest. And it is really appreciated. I think the lads made sure that were known after the game as well at weekend, even though they all wanted to just crawl into a hole and disappear, as you do after a loss. But no, it is really appreciated. I'm glad they're sticking with us. We'll keep digging in, giving our best effort, and the harder you work, the luckier you get, they say, don't they? So hopefully we get a bit of luck and we turn it around quickly.